Welcome back my channel, Old Crypto Coin Elizabeth. Two Australian coins from the years 1969, 1973, 1974, 1975, and 1996 tell a fascinating story about Australia's monetary history, design evolution, collector demand, and hidden value that many people overlook. In this video, we explore these coins in depth, not just as pieces of metal, but as historical artifacts that passed through millions of hands and quietly recorded decades of national change. When Queen Elizabeth II appeared on Australian coinage, her portrait became one of the most recognized symbols in the country's currency system. The portrait changed slightly over time as new official effigies were introduced, and these subtle design updates are incredibly important to collectors today. Coins from 1969 came from a period when Australia had already shifted to decimal currency, having moved away from pounds, shillings, and pence in 1966. By 1969, decimal coins such as a 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, and 50 cent were firmly in circulation, all bearing the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. These coins were struck mainly in bronze and copper nickel, and while most were produced in large numbers, condition plays a powerful role in value. A 1969 coin found in worn condition may be worth only face value, but a sharply preserved uncirculated example with strong luster and no contact marks can command a much higher premium among collectors, especially if it comes from a well-preserved roll or mint set. Some 1969 issues are also known for minor die variations and strike differences, and sharp-eyed collectors search for these small details because rarity often hides in tiny imperfections. Moving forward to 1973, Australian Elizabeth II coins show a maturing decimal system and steady mint production, but this year is particularly interesting because of proof sets and specially prepared collector strikes. Proof coins from 1973 were made with polished dies and specially prepared blanks, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted designs. These are very different from normal circulation coins and are highly sought after today. Many new collectors don't realize that a proof version of common date can be worth many times more than the same coin pulled from pocket change. The 1973 issues across different denominations also show how consistent design themes, native animals, national symbols, and clean typography help define Australia's coin identity. Collectors often build year sets, meaning they try to acquire every denomination from a single year like 1973 in matching condition, which increases demand for high-grade examples. If coins from this year are found with full detail on Queen Elizabeth II's hair, crown, and lettering, and with minimal scratches, they can be considered premium collectibles rather than ordinary change. The year 1974 adds another layer of interest because it sits in a decade marked by inflation, economic shifts, and heavy coin usage. High circulation often means fewer coins survive in top condition, and that fact alone can raise the collector value of uncirculated 1974 pieces. Elizabeth II's portrait still appears in its earlier youthful style during this period, and many coins from 1974 show heavy, where when found today, that makes mint state survivors more desirable. Another factor that drives attention to 1974 Australian coins is the existence of mint sets and special packaging that protected coins from wear right from the start. Coins preserved this way often display original mint brilliance decades later. Collectors carefully inspect the rim, lettering, and design elements, such as animals and coats of arms for strike quality. Weak strikes, off-center designs, or clipped planchets, while considered errors, can dramatically increase value because error coins are unique and scarce. A normal worn 1974 coin might be common, but an error example can be a headline piece in collection. Coins dated 1975 with Queen Elizabeth II continue the story and are especially popular with date-run collectors who aim to assemble continuous yearly sequences. Even when mintages are high, demand remains steady because every serious collection needs that year to be complete. The 1975 issues are often examined for die cracks, double lettering, and unusual surface textures that occur during production. Over time, numismatists have learned that small minting anomalies can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a premium collectible. Another key factor is original color for bronze coins and original luster for copper nickel coins. Cleaning damage can reduce value sharply, so untouched surfaces are prized. Many collectors today search bankrolls and old jars specifically hoping to find bright, original 1975 coins that somehow escaped decades of wear. In higher certified grades assigned by professional grading services, these coins can sell for multiples of their face value, especially when population reports show only a limited number surviving at the top grade levels. Jumping ahead to 1996, we enter a more modern era of Australian Elizabeth II coinage. And this year is notable because by the mid-1990s, coin production technology had improved, collector awareness had grown, and special issues and commemoratives were more common. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II used on coins had changed to a more mature effigy compared to the earlier decades, and this alone helps collectors quickly distinguish modern issues from older ones. Coins from 1996 are often easier to find in better condition because people had started saving coins more actively, yet top-grade flawless examples are still surprisingly scarce when judged under magnification. The Royal Australian Mint also produced collector sets, proof issues, and special themed releases around this period, and these sets are extremely popular in the resale market. Some 1996 coins gain additional value when found in sealed mint packaging or with official certificates. Error varieties, such as rotated dies or striking flaws, are again a major attraction and can push prices far beyond normal catalog values. What makes all these Elizabeth II Australian coins from 1969, 1973, 1974, 1975, and 1996 especially exciting is that value is not determined by year alone, but by a combination of condition, rarity, variety, and collector demand. Two coins from the same year can have dramatically different prices depending on preservation and mint characteristics. That is why experienced collectors always recommend careful storage, no harsh cleaning, and close inspection under good lighting. Even a coin that looks ordinary at first glance can reveal sharp details, proof-like surfaces, or mint errors that change everything. These coins also connect generations. They were used in daily life, carried in pockets, exchanged in shops, and saved in jars, and now they return as collectible treasures with historical and financial interest. If you own Australian coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II from these years, it is worth taking the time to examine them closely, compare them with graded examples, and understand their place in the broader story of Australian currency. A small coin can carry a big history, and sometimes surprising value hides in plain sight. Step 1, the year 1969, is a fascinating point in Australian coin history, especially for collectors who focus on coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II. In this video, we're going to take a deep journey into the world of 1969 Australian Elizabeth II coins, their background, design, metal composition, minting story, collector demand, rare varieties, grading impact, and surprising value some examples can reach today. When you first look at a 1969 Australian coin with a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it may appear like an ordinary circulation piece, something that once passed through countless hands in everyday transactions. But behind that simple appearance lies a rich historical and numismatic story that makes these coins highly interesting for collectors and history lovers alike. During the late 1960s, Australia was still relatively new to decimal currency, having switched from pounds, shillings, and pence to dollars and cents in 1966. By 1969, the decimal system was firmly established, and coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II were circulating widely across the country in denominations such as 1 cent, 2 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, and a distinctive 50-cent coin. Each of these coins carried the royal portrait, symbolizing Australia's constitutional monarchy and its connection to the British Crown, while the reverse side celebrated uniquely Australian wildlife and national identity. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II used on Australian coins in 1969 was a youthful Arnold Mackin portrait, which shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This design is elegant, clean, and highly recognizable. It appeared on millions of coins across the Commonwealth. Around the portrait, you typically see the inscription Elizabeth II Australia and the year 1969, marking the coin's date clearly. For collectors, the portrait style helps immediately identify the era of the coin because later decades introduced updated portraits as the Queen aged. That makes 1969 coins part of an earlier portrait period, which many collectors prefer, because of its classic, refined look. The obverse design remained consistent across denominations, but each reverse design was different, turning every coin into a small piece of national storytelling. The 1969 Australian 50-cent coin, for example, features the Australian coat of arms, a kangaroo and emu supporting a shield, while the 20-cent shows a platypus, the 10-cent shows the lyrebird, the 5-cent shows echidna, the 2-cent shows a frill-neck lizard, and the 1-cent shows a feather-tailed glider. This wildlife theme made Australia's decimal coins stand out globally. One of the most talked about coins of that period is the 50-cent piece. Although the famous round silver 50 cent was only issued in 1966, by 1969, the 50-cent coin had already changed to a dodecagonal copper-nickel version. Many new collectors get confused and think every older 50-cent coin is silver, but that's not true. By 1969, the circulating 50-cent coins were not silver. Still, the 1969 50 cent is very popular because of its bold shape and large size. Its 12-sided form makes it instantly recognizable even by touch, and that practical design choice also makes it visually striking in a collection. High-grade, uncirculated examples of the 1969 50 cent can command significantly higher prices than worn examples, especially if they show sharp detail on the coat of arms and minimal bag marks. Coin grading plays a massive role here. A coin that looks almost new to the naked eye might still grade lower under magnification, while a truly mint-state example with strong luster can be worth many times more. Moving down to the smaller denominations, the 1969 20-cent coin is another favorite among collectors. The platypus reverse design is considered one of the most beautiful wildlife coin designs in the world. In circulated condition, these coins are common, but when you find one with full detail in the platypus fur and clean water lines, plus strong original mint shine, it becomes much more desirable. The 1969 10 cent with the lyrebird is also widely collected, and sharp strike quality is especially important on this coin because a fine feather detail can wear down quickly in circulation. Collectors often search through bulk lots and old change jars hoping to find high-grade survivors from the late 1960s, and 1969 dates are regularly included in these treasure hunts. The bronze 1 cent and 2 cent coins of 1969 are no longer legal tender in Australia today, since those denominations were withdrawn in the early 1990s, which added a layer of nostalgia and collectability. Some people build full-date sets of bronze cents and bright red, uncirculated 1969 pieces, known as red, copper, and grading terms, can be surprisingly valuable compared to dull brown circulated examples. Another exciting area for 1969 Elizabeth, the second Australian coins, is mint errors and varieties. Error coins are pieces that were struck incorrectly at the mint, and they can include off-center strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or rotated dies. While most 1969 coins are normal issues, error examples do exist and can sell for strong premiums because collectors love unusual mint mistakes. Even small varieties, like differences in die polishing or minor doubling, can attract attention if they are documented and visible. This is why serious collectors examine coins under magnification and good lighting. What looks ordinary at first glance can sometimes turn out to be a scarce variety. The thrill of discovery is a huge part of coin collecting, and 1969 coins are old enough now that new finds still happen in rolls, estate collections, and dealer stock. Condition, rarity within grade, and eye appeal are the three pillars that determine how much a 1969 Australian Elizabeth II coin might be worth today. A heavily worn coin with scratches and discoloration will usually be valued close to face value, or only slightly above, depending on denomination. But a coin that has been preserved carefully, with full mint luster, no wear, and minimal marks, can be worth many multiples of face value. Professional grading services can certify coins and assign them a numeric grade, which increases buyer confidence and often increases market price. Slabbed high-grade coins from the 1960s are especially attractive to registry set collectors who compete to assemble the finest graded sets possible. Historical context also adds depth to these coins. In 1969, Australia was going through social and economic change, expanding industry, modernizing infrastructure, and strengthening its identity on the global stage. Coins from that year circulated during a dynamic period of national development. When you hold a 1969 Elizabeth II Australian coin, you're holding an object that moved through shops, buses, markets, and banks more than half a century ago. That tangible link to everyday history is one of the strongest emotional drivers in numismatics. Coins are not just metal. They are witnesses. They pass from person to person, story to story, moment to moment. For anyone building an Australian decimal collection, 1969 is an essential date to include across all denominations. A complete 1969 set, from 1 cent through 50 cents, makes a beautiful display, especially when matched in similar high grade. Some collectors go further and seek proof or specimen strikes if available in sets, which feature sharper detail and mirror-like surfaces. These special strikes were made for collectors' rat. Step 2, the year 1973 marks an interesting and often overlooked chapter in Australian coin history, especially for collectors who focus on coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II. In this video, we are diving deep into the 1973 Australian Elizabeth II coinage. The designs, the historical background, the metal composition, minting details, rare varieties, collector value, and the hidden factors that can turn an ordinary-looking coin into a surprisingly valuable treasure. If you have old Australian coins stored away in a box, inherited from family, or picked up in a mix lot, you'll want to watch closely because the 1973 issues can carry more importance than many people realize. This was a period when Australia had fully transitioned to decimal currency, yet the design still carried strong ties to tradition and monarchy, making these coins a blend of modern system and classic symbolism. To understand a 1973 Elizabeth II Australian coins, we first need to look at the broader context. Australia switched to decimal currency in 1966, replacing pounds, shillings, and pence with dollars and cents. By 1973, the decimal system had been in use for several years, and coin production had become more standardized and efficient. All circulating Australian coins of that period carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. The portrait used in 1973 was the Arnold Mackin design, a right-facing bust of the Queen, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait is highly recognizable and appears on many Commonwealth coins from the late 1960s to the 1980s. Around the portrait you will see the inscription Elizabeth II Australia and the date 1973, creating a clean and balanced royal obverse that collectors still admire today. Now, let's talk about the denominations you may find dated in 1973 in Australia. That year included the 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, and 50 cent coins. Each denomination had its own reverse design representing Australian wildlife or national symbolism. The 1 cent featured the feather-tailed glider. The 2 cent showed the frill-necked lizard. The 5 cent displayed the echidna. The 10 cent carried the lyrebird. The 20 cent featured the platypus. And the 50 cent showed the Australian coat of arms. These designs help create a uniquely Australian identity in the decimal coin series, and even today they are considered some of the most attractive wildlife coin motifs in circulation history. The metals used in 1973 Australian coins are also important for collectors. The 1C and 2C coins were struck in bronze, giving them a reddish-brown appearance that often darkens with age. The 5C, 10C, 20C, and 50C coins were struck in copper nickel, a silver-color alloy that is durable and resistant to wear. Because of this, higher denomination coins from 1973 often survive in better condition than bronze cents, which tend to show environmental damage, spotting, or heavy discoloration. Condition plays a major role in value, so two coins from the same year can have dramatically different prices depending on preservation. Mintages for 1973 coins were generally high because Australia needed large quantities for everyday commerce. However, high mintage does not automatically mean zero collector value. Over time, attrition removes many coins from circulation through damage, loss, and melting. Finding examples today in uncirculated or near-perfect condition is much harder than the original mintage numbers suggest. Collectors pay premiums for coins graded in high mint state levels, especially when luster is intact and there are minimal marks. A bright, sharply struck 1973 coin can be worth many times more than a worn example pulled from circulation. Another fascinating area is die varieties and mint errors. Even in years with heavy production like 1973, small differences can occur: doubled letters, off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, or rotation errors. These are not common, but when found, they can significantly increase value. Error collectors actively search through bulk coins looking for these unusual pieces. A normal 1973 coin might be worth face value or slightly more, but an authenticated mint error from the same year can sell for a substantial premium, depending on the severity and visual appeal of the error. Proof coins from 1973 also deserve attention. The Royal Australian Mint produced proof sets aimed at collectors, featuring specially struck coins with mirror-like fields and frosted designs. These were not released into circulation, but sold in protective packaging. A complete 1973 proof set in original government packaging is usually worth far more than individual circulated coins. The difference between proof and circulation strike is immediately visible. Proofs have sharper detail, deeper contrast, and a polished appearance. Many new collectors mistakenly spend proof coins or remove them from sets, which reduces their value. So intact sets are especially desirable. Let's also discuss grading, because grading is where real price differences appear. A circulated 1973 5-cent coin with heavy, where might be worth only a small premium over face value to a bulk buyer. But the same coin graded mint state 65 or higher by a reputable grading service can sell for a strong collector price. Grading looks at wear, strike quality, surface marks, and luster. Learning how to evaluate these factors yourself can help you spot better coins before others do. Even without professional grading, you can separate coins into worn, lightly circulated, and uncirculated groups and treat them differently. Storage is another key factor for 1973 Australian Elizabeth II coins. Bronze coins especially are sensitive to moisture and chemicals. Storing them in dry, acid-free holders away from humidity helps preserve color and detail. Never clean coins aggressively. Cleaning usually lowers collector value by damaging original surfaces. Many beginners think shining a coin makes it more valuable, but experienced collectors prefer natural, untouched surfaces even if they look darker. Market value for 1973 Australian coins depends on denomination, condition, rarity of variety, and collector demand. Most circulated examples are affordable and accessible, which actually makes them perfect for new collectors building date sets. High-grade uncirculated coins, proof issues, and verified mint errors are where prices rise. Over time, as more people take interest in decimal error coins, demand can grow, especially for top-condition pieces. Coins once considered common sometimes become harder to find in premium grade decades later. From a storytelling perspective, 1973 coins also represent Australia during a period of social and economic development. With a strong connection to the British Crown through Queen Elizabeth II, holding one of these coins is like holding a small, durable historical document, a piece of metal that passed through shops, markets, pockets, and banks across the country. Every mark tells a story of circulation and use, while every pristine example tells a story of careful preservation. So when you look at a 1973 Australian Elizabeth II coin, don't dismiss it too quickly as just small change from the past. Check the denomination, study the condition, look closely for unusual features, and consider whether it might be part of a proof issue or a high-grade survivor. Whether you're a beginner or a serious collector, these coins offer an affordable yet historically rich area to explore. And who knows, the next time you sort through old coins, a sharp 1973 Australian. Step 3, the 1974 Australia coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is one of those fascinating pieces of currency that many people overlook in their pockets in old collections, yet carries a deep story of history, design, rarity varieties, and collector value that can truly surprise you. Imagine holding a coin that connects you directly to Australia in the 1970s, a time of economic change, new decimal currencies still gaining familiarity, and a growing interest in modern coin collecting. In this video, we're going to explore everything about the 1974 Australian Elizabeth II coin, its background design details, minting story, metal composition, rare varieties, errors, collector demand, and the hidden values that could turn an ordinary-looking coin into a highly desirable collectible. Stay with me, because by the end, you may want to recheck every 1974 Australian coin you own. In 1974, Australia had already transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, pence system to decimal currency, which officially began in 1966. By the mid-1970s, decimal coins were fully integrated into everyday life, and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II appeared on all standard circulating coins. The obverse design used during that period showed a young Queen Elizabeth II wearing the royal tiara, created by artist Arnold Mackin. This portrait is known for its clean lines and elegant simplicity, and it became one of the most recognized royal coin portraits across many Commonwealth countries. Around the portrait, the inscription typically reads Elizabeth II Australia, along with the year 1974, marking the coin's date and national identity in a bold circular legend. The reverse design depends on the denomination, and that's where things get really interesting for collectors. In 1974, Australia produced several denominations, including 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, and 50 cent coins, all featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the front, but each with a unique reverse design representing Australian wildlife or national symbols. For example, the 1 cent coin shows a feather-tail glider, the 2 cent features a frill-necked lizard, the 5 cent displays the echidna, the 10 cent shows a lyrebird, the 20 cent features a platypus, and the 50 cent carries the Australian coat of arms. This makes the 1974 coin set visually rich and very popular with thematic collectors who love animal and nature designs. Let's talk about metal composition, because this is one of the key factors that affects durability and collectability. The 1 and 2 cent coins in 1974 were made from bronze, giving them a distinctive brown or reddish tone that darkens with age. The 5, 10, 20, and 50 cent coins were struck in cupronickel, a silver-colored alloy known for strength and corrosion resistance. Because of these metals, many 1974 coins still survive in decent condition today, but finding them in truly uncirculated or mint-state condition is much harder than people expect, especially after decades of circulation, scratches, and environmental exposure. Now here is where value begins to separate common coins from collectible treasures: condition and strike quality. A heavily worn 1974 coin is usually worth only face value or slightly more, but sharply struck, fully detailed, uncirculated example can be worth many times its original denomination. Collectors carefully examine high points of the design, such as the queen's hair detail, crown elements, and the fine textures of the animal designs on the reverse. Coins with strong luster, no wear, and minimal marks are graded higher and can command premium prices in the collector market. Another exciting area is mint errors and varieties. Some 1974 Australian coins are known with striking errors, such as off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, and double strikes. These mistakes happen during the minting process and escape quality control, making them rare and highly collectible today. Error collectors actively search coin rolls and old collections, hoping to discover one of these unusual pieces. Even a small visible error can multiply a coin's value far beyond its normal catalog price. Mint marks and production numbers also play a role in collector interest. While most 1974 Australian decimal coins were produced in large numbers by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, not all denominations had identical mintages. Lower mintage figures or special collector sets from that year can be more desirable. Some 1974 coins were also issued in proof and uncirculated sets specifically for collectors, and these versions were struck with higher quality dies and special handling. Proof coins from 1974, with mirror-like feels and frosted designs, are especially attractive and often sell for strong premiums when preserved in original packaging. The historical context of 1974 adds another layer of appeal. Australia in the 1970s was going through economic shifts, inflation pressures, and social change. Coins from this era passed through millions of hands during a dynamic period of national development. For many collectors, owning a 1974 Elizabeth II Australian coin is like holding a small metallic time capsule, a piece of everyday history that silently witnessed commerce, travel, and daily life nearly half a century ago. Collectors also love building full-year sets, and 1974 is a popular target because all denominations are obtainable, yet high-grade matching sets are challenging to assemble. Finding every denomination from the same year in similar uncirculated condition requires patience and careful searching. That challenge increases the satisfaction and market value of a completed set. Some collectors go even further, searching for dye varieties and subtle design differences that only experts usually notice. Storage and preservation are extremely important if you believe you have a high-quality 1974 coin. Proper coin holders, capsules, or albums protect against moisture, fingerprints, and scratches. Cleaning coins is strongly discouraged because it can permanently damage the surface and reduce collector value. Many beginners make the mistake of polishing old coins to make them shiny, but experienced collectors know that original surfaces are far more valuable than clean ones. Market value for 1974 Australian Elizabeth II coins ranges widely. Common circulated pieces are inexpensive, but uncirculated coins, proof issues, and verified mint errors can reach impressive prices depending on grade and rarity. Auction results often show that condition is king. Two coins of the same year and type can sell for dramatically different amounts simply because one is better preserved. The beauty of collecting 1974 Australian coins is that it is accessible to beginners, yet deep enough for advanced numismatists. You can start by checking your spare change, inherited collections, or old jars of coins, then gradually learn grading varieties and market trends. Every coin you examine improves your eye and your knowledge, and occasionally a surprising discovery appears, a near-perfect specimen or a genuine mint error hiding in plain sight. So before you ignore that 1974 Australian coin with Queen Elizabeth II on it, take a closer look, study the portrait, inspect the reverse design, check the condition, and look for anything unusual. What seems ordinary at first glance could be a collectible piece with real historical and monetary value. Coin collecting is not just about money. It's about history, art, detail, and the thrill of discovery. And the 1974 Elizabeth II Australia coin is a perfect example of how much story and potential can live. Step 4, the 1975 Australia Elizabeth II coin, is one of those fascinating pieces of currency that many people overlook in their daily lives. Yet for collectors and history lovers, it carries a deep story, a unique design heritage, and in certain cases, surprising value. When you first look at a 1975 Australian coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II, you're not just seeing a piece of metal. You're looking at a snapshot of Australia in the mid-1970s, a time of economic change, evolving national identity, and strong ties to the British monarchy. During this period, Australian coinage prominently displayed the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, symbolizing constitutional monarchy and continuity. And the 1975 issues are especially interesting because they sit right in the era after decimalization, when Australia had fully transitioned from pounds, shillings, and pence into the modern dollar system that began in 1966. The portrait used on 1975 coins is the Arnold Mackin effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, showing a young crowned queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with elegant lettering around the rim reading Elizabeth II Australia in the year 1975, a design that many collectors admire for its clean, sharp, and dignified appearance. What makes 1975 Australian Elizabeth II coins particularly engaging for viewers and collectors is a variety of denominations that were produced that year, including the 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, and 50 cent coins, each with its own reverse design representing Australian culture and wildlife. The 1 cent coin shows the beloved feather-tailed glider, a tiny native marsupial captured in motion, symbolizing Australia's unique fauna. The 2 cent coin features a frill-necked lizard, one of the most iconic reptile images in world coinage. The 5 cent displays the echidna. The 10 cent shows a lyrebird with spectacular tail feathers. The 20 cent carries a platypus swimming design, and the 50 cent, already changed from its original silver round type, appears in its distinctive 12-sided shape with the Australian coat of arms. When you present these coins in a video, it becomes a visual journey through Australia's wildlife and national symbolism, all tied together by the consistent portrait of Elizabeth II on the front. From a collector's standpoint, most 1975 circulation coins were minted in large numbers, which means many are still common today in worn condition. But condition is everything in numismatics. A heavily circulated coin might only be worth face value, but a brilliant uncirculated example with sharp detail, original mint luster, and no scratches can command a premium. Even more exciting are error coins, and this is where our audience should pay close attention, because minting mistakes such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, double strikes, or wrong planchet errors can turn ordinary 1975 coin into a highly sought-after collectible worth many times its face value. Some collectors specifically hunt rolls in old jars of coins just looking for these rare error varieties, and it only takes one discovery to make the search worthwhile. Another interesting angle for your viewers is the metal composition of the 1975 Australian coins, because each denomination used different alloys, and this affects color, weight, durability, and collectability. The bronze 1 and 2 cent coins have a warm brown tone and age differently depending on storage. The 5, 10, and 20 cent coins are made from cupronickel, giving them a silver appearance and strong resistance to corrosion. The 50-cent coin, also cupronickel by 1975, is heavier and instantly recognizable by touch because of its multi-sided shape. Explaining how these metals age, tone, and sometimes develop attractive patina can make your video more educational and help viewers understand why two coins of the same year can look completely different and have different market appeal. Historical context also adds depth to your script. In 1975, Australia was going through major political events, including the constitutional crisis that led to the dismissal of Prime Minister Gough Whitlam, one of the most dramatic political moments in Australian history. Coins from that year silently passed through the hands of millions of people during that turbulent time. So when someone holds a 1975 Elizabeth II Australian coin today, they are holding an object that physically circulated during a year of national debate and transformation. Bringing the storytelling element into your video helps transform a simple coin review into a living historical narrative that keeps viewers engaged for a longer watch time. For value discussion, it is important to be both exciting and realistic for your audience. Most standard circulated 1975 coins are affordable and accessible, making them great starter pieces for new collectors. However, high-grade mint state examples graded by professional services, proof coins from official mint sets, and confirmed mint errors can reach significantly higher prices. Proof sets from 1975, produced with specially polished dies and planchets, show mirror-like fields and frosted designs, and these are especially attractive on camera, perfect for close-up shots in your video. Encouraging viewers to check coin condition, mint sets, and possible errors give them actionable steps rather than just passive information. You can also build engagement by guiding viewers on how to identify authentic 1975 coins versus damaged or altered pieces, suggesting they look at edge quality, lettering sharpness, design clarity, and natural wear patterns. Many beginners confuse damage with mint error, so explaining the difference, such as post-mint scratches versus true die errors, adds authority to your presentation. Invite viewers to look to their old Australian coin jars, inherited collections, or marketplace finds, because these everyday places are often where overlooked treasures hide. By the end of your video, the 1975 Australia Elizabeth II coin should feel less like spare change and more like a small historical artifact packed with art, wildlife, politics, metallurgy, and collecting opportunity. Framing the coin as a storyteller, something that traveled through thousands of hands across decades, creates emotional connection and keeps viewers watching longer. That combination of history, design appreciation, rarity hunting, and practical collector advice is exactly what turns a simple coin topic into a strong, higher-attention YouTube script. Last step, the 1996 Australian coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II are a fascinating window into modern numismatic history, combining royal heritage, national symbolism, and collectible value in a way that continues to attract coin collectors and history lovers around the world. When we talk about the 1996 Australia Elizabeth II coin series, we are usually referring to the circulating decimal coins struck by the Royal Australian Mint, including denominations such as 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $1, and $2, all bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side. In 1996, Australia was deep into its decimal currency era, which began in 1966, and by this time the coinage system had matured with stable designs and improved minting technology. The obverse portrait used on the 1996 issue shows the elegant Raphael Macklow effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, a crowned and dignified right-facing profile, that was introduced on Australian coins in the mid-1980s and remained in use for several years. Around the portrait, you will see the inscription Elizabeth II and Australia, along with the year 1996, clearly marking the coin's origin and authority. This portrait style is important for collectors because different portrait types across decades help identify periods and varieties, and many enthusiasts build collections based on each portrait era of the Queen. The reverse sides of the 1996 coins each carry uniquely Australian imagery, which is one of the reasons these coins are so loved. The 5-cent coin features echidna, a native spiny anteater symbolizing Australia's unique wildlife. The 10-cent coin shows a superb lyrebird with its incredible tail feathers. The 20-cent coin displays a platypus swimming, another animal found almost nowhere else in the world. The 50-cent coin carries the Australian coat of arms with a kangaroo and emu, supporting the shield. The $1 coin presents a famous mob of kangaroos design, and the $2 coin features an Aboriginal elder portrait with a Southern Cross and native grass, representing deep cultural heritage. In 1996, these coins were primarily struck for everyday circulation, meaning millions were produced, handled, and used in daily transactions, which makes high-grade uncirculated examples more desirable today, because many pieces show wear from heavy use. Collectors often search for 1996 coins in mint condition, proof sets, and uncirculated sets issued by the Royal Australian Mint, because those versions were specially struck with sharper detail and better surface quality. The proof sets from 1996 are especially appealing because they come with mirror-like finishes and frosted design elements, carefully packaged for collectors rather than circulation. Another interesting aspect of 1996 Australian Elizabeth II coins is metal composition. By this period, lower denominations like the 5, 10, and 20 cents were struck in cupronickel, giving them a silver-gray color and strong durability, while the $1 and $2 coins were made from aluminum bronze, giving them their distinctive golden appearance that stands out in change. Over time, some 1996 coins have become harder to find in top grades because circulation wear, environmental exposure, and loss reduce the surviving pool of pristine examples, and grading services now certify top-condition coins that can sell for premiums compared to face value. Errors and varieties are another exciting area for 1996 issues, because collectors always watch for misstrikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, double strikes, and other minting anomalies that can transform an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. Even a small rotation error or clipped planchet from 1996 can attract serious interest if authenticated. Beyond pure value, these coins tell a cultural story. They represent Australia in the mid-1990s, a time of economic development, growing global presence, and continued constitutional ties to the monarchy, with Queen Elizabeth II serving as Australia's head of state. Each time someone held a 1996 coin, they were literally holding a small piece of national identity and royal continuity. For YouTube viewers and new collectors, checking your pocket change or old coin jars for 1996 Australian coins can be the start of a rewarding hobby, because learning to read the date, study the portrait, inspect the reverse design, and judge the condition builds real numismatic skill. When evaluating a 1996 coin, experts look at luster, strike sharpness, surface marks, rim quality, and overall eye appeal, and even circulated coins can be collectible if they are well preserved. Storage also matters. Keeping coins in dry, protective holders prevents corrosion and scratches and helps maintain value over time. Some collectors like to build full-year sets from 1996 across all denominations, while others focus on a single type, such as only dollar coins or only proof issues. Auction markets and dealer catalogs show that while most standard 1996 circulating coins remain affordable, top-grade certified pieces and special mint products can command significantly higher prices, especially when demand rises. The historical continuity of Queen Elizabeth II's portrait across decades also allows collectors to compare how coin art and minting quality evolved, making a 1996 coin a useful reference point between earlier and later portrait styles. Educationally, these coins are perfect teaching tool for young collectors because the animal designs spark curiosity about Australian wildlife geography and symbolism. From the technical minting process to the artistic engraving, from the royal portrait to the native fauna, the 1996 Australian Elizabeth II coin series stands as a complete miniature gallery of design and heritage. So whether you are a beginner checking your change, a serious numismatist hunting high-grade examples, or a history fan interested in Royal-era currency, the 1996 Australia Elizabeth II coins offer depth, beauty, and collectible potential, proving that even modern coins can carry stories, artistry, and opportunity far beyond their face value.